Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Everyday Adventure Show. As always, I'm Steven, and I'm always here with
Nathan.
And we're excited about this week's episode. But first, how are you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing really good. It's been a good day. How about you?
Good. I'd agree. It's
Good.
been a great day.
It's an adventure, man.
Every day that we film the Everyday Adventure Show is a great day, and we get to be with you. So we're excited about it.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about today?
Core values.
Nice.
Yes. I think they are very essential to have, to know what our core values are in life. And maybe you're like, what's a core value? Well, we'll tell you here shortly. So yeah, Steven, why don't you tell us, what is a core value?
Yeah. What I believe a core value is, and different people can have kind of a different take on it, but really it's guiding principles and guiding beliefs that we kind of live our life by. It's kind of these, the best way I can put it is that it's a filter. That our core values serve as a filter for our life, that if the opportunities that come, if the career opportunities that come, if the decisions that you make and what your friends are doing, if it doesn't align with your core values, it filters those things out. And so core values are extremely important. And so that's kind of a little bit of what I see a core value. What do you think when you hear core values?
Absolutely. I think of it a lot as that filter that helps with the decision-making processes. Just recently, there was 2 decisions that I was having to choose from, and I was wrestling with it for the longest time. Maybe you can relate. And I was trying to go back and forth on like, all right, what are the pros? What are the cons? And then I was like, oh, wait, like, why don't I like compare this to my core values? And I looked at that, and as soon as I looked at it, it was like, as if it was like, obviously, this option makes way more sense than the other option. So that helped a lot.
No, that's awesome. And I think the other thing I think of with core values is that to a lot of people, it might be like a business term. It might be something that, yeah, I've heard, I've looked at a wall on a company, and it had their core values. And I think the same principle goes, that it's kind of like these guiding beliefs and these guiding principles, but it's also something that we can apply to our lives personally, like you're talking about, and like we're going to talk more about today. And so with core values, it was probably about 5 years ago that this kind of became something that I started to work through. I felt like I was just living my life, kind of skipping from, it seemed like, season to season, without much driving purpose and without much, values in my life kind of guiding what I was doing. And so I just sat down and prayerfully brought it to the Lord of like, who have you made me to be? But also, what are the principles that I am to live my life by? What are the things that already intrinsically like are a part of me and a part of who I am? And so I compiled this list of 7 core values that I live my life by, and we'll kind of share those in a little bit and how you can go about discovering your core values as well. But just kind of to go off of that, why do you think they're important, or like why do you think it's so necessary?
Yeah, well, actually, I'll go back to the first time when you first introduced core values to me, back when I was much more stubborn and prideful. I was like, this is a waste of time. This is dumb. There's so much other things that I could be doing. That was just my mindset, if I'm being honest.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. But I've changed since to find that, like, no, like, these actually are things that are valuable. It is nice to, maybe I'm the only one, but have those days where it's just like, man, like, what am I doing? What am I trying to accomplish? Or, like, how should I make these decisions? And, like, being able to have taken the time when I knew I was in, like, a good place in life to come up with those things, to be able to reference back to, has made a huge difference.
Right. Well, I think, too, there's practical moments, that have come into play for me. I'll share my core values with you, and then I'll kind of share a few times that those have come into play. My first core value is Jesus-centered, that Jesus is the center of my life, that he's the center of everything, that like a filter, everything pours through him. That's the desire. My second is family-focused, that my family would be before other things, that I would say my family is my primary ministry. Like, my family is the primary people God has called me to reach, to love, to disciple. My third is people-driven. I think that one, if you know me, that's self-explanatory. I love people. I want everything that I do to deal with people. Fourth is joyful, authentic, passionate, and teachable. Those are the rest of them. And so those 7 principles are what I hope people see in me when they get to know me, but those are kind of the guiding principles. And so I'll just share a couple practical things if that's okay with you, Nathan.
That's okay with me, Stephen.
Thanks. But no, there in ministry as a college pastor, there's times where you're doing the work of the ministry and it feels great. It's awesome to be doing what God has called us to do. But there's times where in planning events and planning trainings and working with that sometimes you forget the people. You forget like, okay, this was supposed to be about the people. And so for me, that people driven, when I'm going through my values, and I try to do this every day, Jesus centered, family focused, people driven. It's not work focused or anything like that. It's not accomplishing tasks. It's people driven. I want to do this about the people and for the people. And there's other things, opportunities that I've been asked to speak at events, and I had plans with my family or whatever the case was, or I knew I was going to be away from family too much. So family focused, filter those opportunities. And for me, it's like a daily filter of joyful. When I sense like I'm angry, upset, irritated, I'm like, no, I'm a joyful person. God has put joy in my heart, and I'm going to choose joy in this moment. So those are a few things, but I think it goes even to like a friend asks you to go party or do something. If your value is Jesus centered or whatever the case is, you're going to align with that, and you're going to go, nope, my value, my guiding principle is guiding me somewhere else. And so it helps us filter those things to really stay on track to hit the target that God has called us to.
Yeah, absolutely. It can help in tons of different areas where you're wanting to improve in an area, maybe like health. You want one of your core values to be like, I am a healthy person. It's going to help you when you see that very delicious looking donut to be like, you know what? You're going to reference back in your mind to your core values and be like, I'm gonna not eat that donut or whatever it may be for you. I'm going to get up early and I'm going to exercise. It's helpful when we have something to lean back on to help better make the decisions that we ultimately want to make. Right.
Unless your value is donuts, then it's like,
hey, go for it.
Go for it, But I agree in that. And two, with time management, which we're going to talk about soon, it's going to be awesome. Values dictate and determine your priorities. What you value becomes what you prioritize. And so when you value Jesus, when you value family, when you value people, your schedule is going to reflect that, the way you spend your time. And so I think a couple of the questions is like that I ask in helping people determine values this is one of the first ones. If your roommates were to compile a list of your core values, what is most important to you based on what they see in your life and how they see you spend your time, what would they say? Would your core values be like God and family and friends and hard work and these different things, or would it be Netflix and Hulu and YouTube? Like, I think the way we spend our time is reflective of what we value, and either we accidentally or intentionally determine our values. And so are there any other questions that you would ask in helping determine your core values?
I think honestly it's just taking that time to sit down and see who you want your filter to be, what you want your filter to be. And I think we've explained that pretty well throughout this, of what that looks like for you. So obviously we can't tell you what your core values are. You have to figure that on your own. Do you want to be a disciplined person? Then like, all right, like write that down. Like that's going to be one of my core values is I'm going to be disciplined in every area. Even taking time and writing down like, okay, what does that discipline look like? Say you want to be disciplined in your sleep and your eating and your Bible reading. Okay, well then what's the practical steps for that? Is it, I want to be reading at least half hour a day. I want to be getting at least 7 hours of sleep, different things like that. So that way you have the values of what, this is what I want my filter to be like, but then you can have even almost like a second list of practicals to kind of see and compare, like, am I actually walking in what that should look like?
Right. No, I think it's good to have those. And even asking questions like, if I were to win an award at an award banquet and the presenter is presenting me the award, what are they saying about me? Are they saying, he worked hard and kind of left everybody else in the dust, but he was really good at what he did? Or is it everybody anybody that he was with, anybody that he worked with, he made better, that he drew the best out of them? Like, those are the things for me that kind of help me with my values. And so one of the things we're going to do for you is we're going to provide you kind of a list of words, and it's just a ton of words. We're going to put it attached to the YouTube video. You can find it in the notes and on Instagram as well. And these words, just kind of go through and pick them, and we'll give some instructions on how to go about that. But just these trigger words, what words jump out at you as kind of important words to you, and that's something that can help. But also do so prayerfully. Just ask God, who do you want me to be, and what values do you want me to prioritize and put first in my life? So we hope that this is helpful for you. Next week, we're going to continue kind of talking along some of these same things. But right now, it's time for the adventure wheel. Oh, wow. Woo! He is making a grand entrance today. The adventure wheel coming in style.
I thought I'd sit because I've been squatting like for the past 12 episodes.
That's probably pretty good.
I thought I'd just sit this time.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
Freshly shaven.
Thanks.
Well, hey, let's give it a spin and find out what our challenge is this week. We hope that you're
you
still...
should spin it.
All right.
Nathan spins it every week.
All right. We hope that you're still participating in our challenges. We would love to see how they go for you. Let's see what we got this week.
Yeah.
I should spin it every week. I get a little more juice.
That was a good spin. Wow. Beat the sun!
Our challenge for this week is Beat the Sun. Nathan, tell us about it.
Yes. So, obviously, the sun rises every day, right?
What?
Right. And also, you have to rise at some point. So your goal is to rise before the sun rises.
Beat the sun.
Beat the sun.
Wow, okay.
So get up early. Even plan out some things that you can better do, and if with having the extra time in your day, the things that you can better get accomplished.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So yeah, this week's challenge for the entire week, we encourage you, beat the sun every single day. That's setting the alarm a little bit earlier so that you can have more time to just really spend with the Lord and journal and whatever else that may be. Maybe you're struggling in that area. We're setting you up. Beat the sun. This week's Everyday Challenge.
1 week you can
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Just secretly leaving us.
Bye, Ryan.
Usually you announce your presence so much
Later.
more. Well, hey, we'll see you next week. We love you. Keep living every day as an adventure.
Hey.
Finger guns.